go to the online button, which is right here, guys. And you'll see a few of them in this transport. There's one in each of these as well. So even if the synchronization portion, you don't like it in your bar, you can literally turn the synchronization off, but it still gives you one in your main transport. If you're somebody who likes nothing on your main transport at all but your little end, you still have the online button, okay? Okay. So at this point, we don't have to do anything with the transport. Because it's in online mode, it's saying, I'm in standby. You tell me, send me some LTC, send me some time code. When I hear it, I'll start playing where it is. As long as I have no offset, there is no offset, it's also starting at 0. Because if it had an offset of 1 minute or -1 minute, it would not start until that time code got to 1 minute. Then Pro Tools would say, oh, we've reached 1 minute, I'll start. So then it thinks it's at bar 1. That's where the offset comes in play, right? I'll show you this in a second. Right now we're starting at 0. We've striped it at 0. When we press play, go ahead, Jack. On the tape machine, we're gonna watch here. Oh, locate back for 1 second. I'm gonna do this for you guys. We're gonna go to the session. Remember we talked about the information here? That this is the input time code coming in, and this is where it's supposed to start. So the moment it sees it at 0 and locks up, these windows are gonna go grayed out. That means that it's locked and rolling, okay? So, let's watch this. You locate it back to 0, press play. Oh, wait, sorry. Hang on. Locate back to 0. I forgot to tell you guys. We gotta change the patch. Okay? So, we're gonna take it out of LTC out. And we're gonna patch that into LTC in. And we're gonna take the MCI 24 in, we're gonna patch that, pull that out, and we need to patch it into where?
DAW.
It's coming back from Pro Tools, right? Or from the tape machine.
Yeah.
So we need to take MCI out 24.
Down there. There?
Go ahead, right
Isn't it down here? This one?
right there. Pull it out. There you go. Cool?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're saying the output is coming from channel 24, track 24 I mean, on the MCI machine, and it's going into the LTC in of the Sync HD. Okay? So, press play now, and now we'll see this time code. Not rolling. Wait a sec. There it is. See? Did you see that happen? So let's take it back. Let's put a locate in there of like 6 seconds.
You just put 6,
Yep.
right?
6.
Okay.
Press play. Watch this, guys. Watch our time code window. Boom. You saw it, and then you saw the rest of it white out, right? That basically has locked it now. So it's saying it's locked in and it's rolling. We can see the cursor here is moving in Pro Tools. We can see it says 18, 19, 20 seconds, right? We look over here, 30, 31, 32, 33. Now we're off by about 5-6 seconds. But that's because this started 5 or 6 seconds later, right? So they're not going to be, depending on where your time code starts, usually what I'll do is advance my tape machine to roughly just before this time code starts and reset my 0 counter there, and then the two of them will be pretty close within a second of each other, but it'll be close enough. this is telling us where the tape counter is. This is telling us where the Smpte time code is striped on the tape to, right? That makes sense? So we can see this now. So if I press stop on the Pro Tools, it transport stops, but it's still an online. It jumped back again. Remember we talked about it. If it drops the Smpte source, it loses it. It stops, but then it goes, oh no, this time code's still happening there. So you can stop this till the cows go home, and it's going to keep, as long as there's time code coming into this unit, into Pro Tools, it will keep trying to lock and chase with it, right? Which is great, because when it comes to this, when I press stop and I rewind back, and then I press stop and I press play, it's going to lock up back there, right? If I rewind back even further and I go back to like a minute, and I press play, we're back to like a minute, right? So I can fast forward, rewind, do whatever I want on the tape machine, and Pro Tools is constantly just going to chase with it. Pretty cool, eh? So if I want to record, I can press stop on this, locate back to the beginning, and here I can press the record button. So I can press the record button, and you'll notice that it's flashing. So at this point it says, I'm in external sync mode, online. I'm waiting for Smpte time code to come in. And once it starts, I'm going to start recording. So this is how we transfer it while we're syncing. So we make sure all of our record readies are off on the tape machine. We go to tape mode, right? So we can transfer it at the optimal quality. And then we press play on the tape machine, and Pro Tools is going to chase and lock with it. Now, this will happen because no tracks are engaged, right? So I'm going to come over here and pick a couple to record from, and come back up again. Now I hit it right away. Sorry, 1 second. Stop. Stop the tape machine.
I think locate, right?
I'm gonna relocate.
There we go. Okay, so now, yeah, locate back. Because it was still moving, I didn't realize you hadn't stopped it here, so I put it in, but you can see what happened. It was chasing, and it literally, when I hit record mode, it just started recording right away as soon as it locked, right? So now we're back to the beginning. So we'll press play here. This is flashing on standby mode. As soon as it locks in, we can see it, boom, and it starts recording. So this is important, guys. If you remember a long time ago, for those of you that I had first, second semester, you can stop it. I always talked about the fact that always start your sessions minimum bar 5, but ideally bar 9. So any song that you create, so that minimum bar 5, so that in this, we have, sometimes it'll take up to 2 bars to lock in between the transports because they're mechanical, right? So it's reading time code, it's mechanical, it needs a few seconds to read it, understand where it is, and lock in, right? So you need that little bit of lead time in order to make sure that everything's going to be there to still get those 2 bars for free of click track. If you did a minimum of starting your song on bar 5, that would give you a couple of bars for rolling and sync lock, 2 bars for your click track, free click leading in, right? And then boom, your song starts on bar 5. I generally like to do bar 9 because that still gives me that start time, but it still gives me 4 bars that I can put some sort of intro swell or a little riff or a little part or a snippet that I might want to add later in the beginning of the song. It gives me that ability. Plus, it just gives me some time for everything to lock and be good. Coming from the older school scenario, we had to do this in order to keep everything locked. Synchronization has gotten pretty fast now as far as the lock time, but back in the time, I can literally remember it taking upwards of 4 bars sometimes for everything to chase, especially if you're dealing with multiple machines, where I would literally have, the tape machine, sequencers, DAW system, outside external tracks. There might be multiple things that are trying to lock up, and for them all to go and then them all be locked in together and rolling, sometimes it would take upwards of 4 bars. So I always started my stuff at bar 9. As time went on, I started to get a little bit, everything's pretty quick now, so I'll do bar 5. But most of the time I try and leave myself heavier. So, hence why I always tell you guys to start there. Yes, arguably we can do a global insert in time and insert that at the beginning of the song for 4 bars. That's a way around it if you haven't already done it, right? But you got to make sure that you just don't insert bars, because that will push your whole automation or your virtual tracks and etc. Your main playlist will move forward, but your virtuals will not. So be careful when you're inserting time or bars that you're doing it as a global insert, so it pushes everything in the session over. Okay? Does this make sense, guys? Who wants to do this? We'll go through here. I want you between today and tomorrow to go through doing, each one of you doing this thing, so that you can get used to how to stripe this for your own sessions, which you're already going to be starting.